Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of our OSINT series, where we're going from absolute beginner to advanced. Today's episode is going to be extremely interesting and packed with powerful techniques, so make sure you don't skip any part of the video. Every step we're going to cover today can be useful during an OSINT investigation, so pay close attention and try to understand why and when each technique is used. But before we get started, I have one small request. If you're enjoying this series, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. We're also planning more cybersecurity content in the future, including topics like malware analysis and other security-related courses. A lot of research, testing, and effort goes into creating these videos, so your support really helps. And if you have any doubts, questions, or suggestions, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments or mention them in our Telegram groups. Now, without wasting any more time, let's get started. Social Network OSINT. The part of OSINT we're going to explore today is called Social Network Intelligence. This is a huge area of OSINT and includes techniques such as profile discovery, account finding, username investigation, user investigation, social media research, and connecting information across different platforms. The basic idea is to use publicly available information from social networks to build a better understanding of an online identity or target. But there's an important challenge we need to understand first. As technology continues to develop, online security and privacy protections are also improving. In the past, OSINT investigators could sometimes find information about a target with relatively simple searches. But today, things have become much more difficult. Social media platforms have introduced stronger privacy controls, better search systems, rate limits, authentication requirements, and other restrictions. For example, on platforms owned by Meta, such as Facebook and Instagram, a normal investigator generally has access only to information that the platform makes publicly visible. If a profile is private, you can't simply expect a normal search query to reveal all of that person's private posts or profile information. This is one of the reasons why basic search queries are often not enough anymore. Investigators may need to use more advanced search techniques, search engine operators, different sources, and cross-platform correlation to find information that is already publicly available. And sometimes, the information we're looking for may exist in third-party databases or breach-related datasets. But there's an important distinction here. Not every piece of information found in a breach or leaked dataset is legally or ethically appropriate to access or use. Some services provide legitimate breach notification or exposure checking features through authorized access, while other datasets may contain highly sensitive information. So in this series, we're going to focus on legal and publicly accessible OSINT techniques and understand how investigators can make their research more efficient without bypassing privacy controls or access restrictions. Our goal is not to break into an account or bypass someone's privacy. Our goal is to understand how much information can be discovered from legitimate public sources and how those pieces of information can be connected together. And that's exactly what we're going to explore today. So let's get started. How to find a user with search dorks. Now, let's say you want to find a particular user online. What would you normally do? You might use a tool like Sherlock or another command line or graphical OSINT tool that searches for usernames across multiple platforms. But here's an interesting question. What if we tried to do the same thing using the search techniques we've already learned? Let's start with one of the simplest queries. Suppose our target username or name is Tom Johnson. We can start with a basic site query. Site.facebook.com Tom Johnson. Let's understand what we're doing here. The site operator limits our search to a specific website, in this case, site.facebook.com, and the quotation marks tell the search engine to look for the exact phrase, Tom Johnson. You can manually change the website in this query depending on the platform you're investigating.
For example, you could replace Facebook.com with another publicly searchable website and see whether the same name or username appears there. This gives you much more control over your investigation because you're not simply asking an automated tool to search everywhere. You are deciding which platform to investigate and what information to look for. What about Sherlock? You can also use a tool like Sherlock for username enumeration. Sherlock can automatically search for a username across many websites and tell you where that username appears to exist. That can be useful for quickly generating potential leads. But here's the important part. Sherlock's results should never be treated as confirmed evidence. Automated username search tools can produce false positives. For example, the same username might belong to completely different people on different platforms. A matching username does not automatically prove that all those accounts belong to the same person. That's why in a real OSINT investigation, automated tools should be treated as starting points, not as the final answer. You still need to manually verify the results by comparing publicly available information, such as profile names, profile pictures, biographies, links, locations, usernames, posting patterns, and other relevant indicators. This is one of the most important principles in OSINT. Automation helps you find leads, human analysis helps you verify them. So instead of blindly trusting the output of a tool, we're going to learn how to build and verify our own searches using the techniques we've already covered. And this is where search engine dorking becomes extremely powerful. Advanced user investigation and verification. Now, you can also use Sentinel Octopus for this type of investigation. It does require an API key, but one of its advantages is that it provides its own modules and AI-assisted models that can help with investigation and verification. Instead of simply giving you a list of possible matches, these systems can help correlate findings from different sources and assist with verification. They can also generate structured reports, which can make the investigation easier to document and review. Challenges in modern OSINT. Because of modern privacy and security technologies, OSINT investigators face many more challenges today when trying to identify or research a target. Social media platforms have stronger privacy controls, search engines have changed their indexing behavior, and many services restrict automated searches. However, there are still different approaches that can help investigators discover and verify publicly available information. Today, we're going to look at two important approaches.
The first approach is what we can call target synchronization. The basic idea is to correlate different pieces of information associated with the same identity and determine whether they actually belong to the same person. This can potentially help investigators identify usernames, aliases, and other publicly associated identifiers. However, this is where we need to be very careful. You should never attempt to force a private application to reveal someone's identity, bypass authentication, or use another person's phone number or account information without authorization. For legitimate OSINT, the safer approach is to work with information that is already publicly available and then correlate those identifiers across different sources. For example, if you discover a username on one public platform, you can investigate whether the same username appears on other public websites, and then look for independent indicators that confirm whether the accounts are actually connected.
Now let's move on to another interesting technique, finding faces and researching images online. There are several tools available on the internet that can help with reverse image search and facial image matching. Some search engines and specialized services also have their own image recognition systems. These tools can be useful when you're trying to determine where a particular image appears online, or whether visually similar images exist across publicly accessible sources.
But remember one important point. A facial image match is a lead, not automatically proof of someone's identity. The accuracy of these systems can vary depending on image quality, lighting, angle, cropping, database coverage, and the algorithms being used. Always manually verify important findings using independent public sources. Search for faces. The first tool we're going to look at is Search for Faces. It is a facial search service that originated in the Russian-speaking internet space, although its indexed coverage can extend beyond that region. The basic workflow is straightforward. Open the website and select the option for searching by image. Then, for a demonstration, we can use a publicly available image of a well-known public figure, such as John Cena. Upload the image and start the search.
The service may take some time to process the image and compare it against its available database. Once the search is complete, you'll receive a collection of matching or visually similar results. Don't simply assume that every result is accurate. Instead, examine the results and compare them with the original source, image context, profile information, dates, and other independent indicators. This verification step is extremely important in OSINT. PimEyes. The next service is PimEyes. PimEyes is another reverse image and face search service that can be used to discover publicly available web pages containing similar or matching facial images. The general concept is similar: image, search, potential matches, manual verification. Again, treat the results as leads rather than confirmed identities. FaceCheck.ID. Another service you can explore is FaceCheck.ID. It also provides image-based facial searching and can return potential matches from publicly accessible online sources. The workflow is similar to the tools we just discussed. Upload an image, perform the search, review the results, and then manually verify the relevant findings. When using any facial search service, always pay attention to its privacy policy and terms of service, especially when uploading images of other people. For OSINT investigations, it's best to use publicly available images and authorized research material, particularly when you're learning these techniques. Social network chapter completed. And with that, we're going to wrap up our social network OSINT chapter. So far, we've learned how to approach user discovery, search engine dorking, account research, email-based investigation, and image-based searching. But from the next episode, we're going to take things to another level. We're going to start our real-world OSINT investigation workflow and move into a new area called online communities. This section is going to be much deeper. We'll explore more advanced investigation concepts, research techniques, and ways of connecting information from different online communities. Some of the topics may also require more context and careful explanation, so we'll take everything step by step. Also, some investigation techniques may be sensitive or subject to platform policies and YouTube's guidelines. Because of that, the complete educational material may not always fit into a single platform. So make sure you follow the project and check the additional resources and community channels where appropriate. That's it for today's episode. If you learned something useful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your questions or suggestions in the comments. I'll see you in the next episode, where we begin our journey into online communities and deeper OSINT investigations. Until then, stay curious, stay ethical, and keep learning.